Hello, welcome to Fade the Beat podcast. This is part 2 of my chat with the legend Carl Cox. So hopefully you've checked out part 1, and we're going to dive in straight away. Here we go. So you're in Dubai at the moment, but you live in Australia, don't you?
Melbourne.
Most of the year. So what made you do that from the UK?
I think a lot of it was to do with lifestyle, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't want to spend my winters in England or Europe. It's too cold, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's too dark, too cold. Everyone's pissing and moaning. Oh, it's too cold, freezing. You know, all going down the pub. All right, you know, what did you do yesterday? Well, the same as I'm doing now. You know, all this sort of stuff. I couldn't do what I did in the summer and then just end up there. And I know some people don't have a choice, but a lot of people do have a choice. They go to Miami, they go to Spain, they go to Portugal. They move around, they get out. I decided to go to Australia because when I first had the opportunity to go to Australia, which was in 1990, you know, I watched the TV, the Sullivans, Neighbours.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, I was watching these
Sons and
Australians.
daughters.
And I was like, what would it be like to actually live there? And it's the same. It's like that, you know. The outback's the same, and
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place. And I, you know, I kind of adopted being in Melbourne out of all the places I've been to, and really enjoy being there. Cosmopolitan wise, it's amazing, and I feel free. I walk around. Well, I say I walk around. I still get tradies, you know, shouting outside of their trucks, Coxie! You know, I'm not getting away with it that easy, but I love it. I love, you know, the foot. I love the footy. I love the car culture there. Barbecues. I like people that they get out. It's an outdoors culture. I enjoy that, and I get to spend like between 2 or 3 months there, and over the winter months in the UK or Europe, and spend the spring into summer, and then once it starts getting around about 18 degrees in Australia, I'm off. As soon as I've got to put a jumper on, I'm off. It's getting too cold. And then hopefully in the rest of the world, I'm going to come back and enjoy the. So I don't really get to see a winter anymore. It's like summer, 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 summer.
Lovely. And the other thing as well, which I'm going to look, we'll definitely just touch on this because you would definitely talk ages for this. Your bikes and your cars and your racing team. What is the fascination about it? As in, from you, what's your, you know, what made you so interested in doing it? And like, you know, you spent, you know, a lot of time, and I can imagine a lot of financial stuff putting into your racing team. What's made that passionate? You've got the passion for it as much as music, because I mean, I want to ask you now, because I've always asked you, because I remember in the past you said you didn't know how many cars and how many bikes have you got in the world, do you think, around the world?
I'm going like this and look it up. Why ask me that question? I mean,
I've always wanted to know, and I always ask you, and you were like, "I'm not sure," and I'm like, "I don't know."
I don't know. I mean, I'm a collector.
Yeah,
I'm a collector of records. I'm a collector of lanyards. I'm a collector.
Well, I collect this behind you, so you can see this is all the stuff I collect. So yeah,
I'm a collector. You know, you can go and get another. Nobody will understand it. That you've got nearly every single Star Wars.
Yeah. You still want something else? Yeah.
Me and my cars. I have always loved motors, cars, bikes, push bikes, whatever. And I've always loved that. And I couldn't afford a lot of the cars that I have now, and I can now to experience them. But not only that, I always had aspirations of being a racing car driver.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't a DJ, and obviously if I was a bit slimmer, I'd probably be, you know, racing team somewhere doing something. But I've always been into it, the aspirations of it all. But also, I never had opportunities like how I'm giving opportunities to, you know, grassroots racing, you know, sidecar racers, to young kids who have aspirations of going to entry level solo bike racing, like I do with the Carl Cox Cup in New Zealand. It's entry level. Sidecar can go entry level into the main World International stage of racing. But I really like sidecar racing. I remember going to Brands Hatch years ago and watching two dudes go around Brands Hatch, one nearly falling off the side of it, and they go around the corner. I'm just thinking, man, that's gladiatorial. That's just incredible. You've got the synergy you've got to work between each other. And I had an opportunity to support, you know, sidecar racing in New Zealand, of which I started putting money into these guys, and I've got like 4 sidecar teams in New Zealand and in the UK and Europe. Got the Carl Cox Cup for young riders coming in, and now I'm just starting to get behind a thing called junior dragsters and junior drag bikes in the UK at Centerpod. These are young
Are you
people.
doing that this year again? The centre
Yeah,
pod
we
thing?
just
Yeah, yeah,
started to do that, so you're
yeah,
going to start seeing some promotions on what
mm,
they're doing in the next
yeah.
generation coming through. My own racing efforts with me being a professional drag racer, outside of me being I'm literally the fastest DJ in the world, and I
How
can.
dangerous is that? Because I've seen the videos and it looks like I sod that I couldn't. I mean, do you ever get in there and go? Oh, it's quite quick, isn't it? So,
You've got to act on everything that you feel,
yeah,
and if you don't, I'm going for a ride. I'm going in hospital. I'm going to break a few
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not going to die.
yeah.
Well, you can't jump in a car like the Pro Mod, which basically gets you from 0 to 250 miles an hour in a quarter mile in 5 seconds.
Oh my god!
Nobody wants to
Wow.
do that, really. But
Why
here
would you
I
do
am,
it?
strapping myself in this bloody rocket ship that
Yeah,
does. And I've kind of gone from drag racing back in the 80s,
yeah.
from running a car, my Mark 1 3-litre Capri.
You've got one of those, haven't you? You
And I've
got one?
got
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Capri today. I've actually got 3 Capris. I can't let it
You
go.
don't even know, so I'm not even
Yeah,
going on the numbers. Yeah,
I've got 3 Capris. So, and then I love racing them. I've always been in performance cars. So my collections is going from the old school classic cars into new performance cars. At the end of the day, I roughly have about 45 cars and roughly have about 80 motorbikes in
oh
my
my
collection.
god!
Mm.
Have you all around the world? That's
Yeah,
mental.
I've got cars in England, cars in New
Wow.
Zealand, and cars and bikes in New Zealand, and
But
cars and bikes
I
in
know,
India.
obviously not to that massive standard, but as a collector, nerd stuff, as you know, it is. You just never. I can never give it up. It's just something that you can slow down, but there's always something else, isn't there? You can never say that's it now and all that, and then something else for me just comes out, and you think, oh god. But listen, let's move it on. So, I just wanted to talk to you about something about. We were talking about it before. How do you feel about cameras being everywhere at shows now, like phones, streams, and the rise of social media? How's everything changed for you? Because obviously, I'm a photographer, so you do clips and videos and all that for yourself and whoever I'm working for and all that. But as a punter, we were talking about this briefly before we came on air. How do you
Mm.
feel about that now in a club with phones and everything?
Yeah, it's very difficult because when back in my day, you
Yeah,
know, we went to clubs to escape the
yeah,
realism of people looking at you and judging you, and you could be who you want to be in a nightclub. No one cared as long as you was throwing shapes or just enjoying or meeting the opposite sex or the same sex. No one cared. It was about you going out and enjoying yourself. That's it. And if you found someone else you could connect with in such a way, brilliant. And then you kind of went, well, I kind of like funk and soul and jazz, and I kind of like house music now and techno music. But I used to go to clubs, punk clubs. I used to go to jazz clubs, and it didn't matter. I wasn't filming myself. I wasn't trying to get people to understand why I'm standing here in these clubs dancing. And I mean, I love dancing. I love if there's a DJ that's playing a record I could connect with. I'll be the first one on the dance floor. That's me. I remember once, right, talking to one of the most beautiful girls I've ever spoken to, and I was getting on really connecting. And then I heard this record, come on, it's Idris Muhammad, Can Heaven Ever Be Like This? And it went on for 11 minutes. And I said, back in a minute, could heaven ever be like this? Look, I went back to go and find out where she's gone. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty dedicated to music. Because today it would be the opposite way round. I
yeah.
guarantee it. And with that, that's my way of why I go out, why I enjoy the clubs and the DJs who are playing the music. The attention of that I think is endearing, and me being of a certain age and me going out all the way up until social media started playing a part in clubland is where we get upset, because if Idris Muhammad made this wonderful record, which is 11 minutes long, and it got played in a club that someone believed in that record should be heard, by people who are like-minded enough to understand that he wore his heart on his sleeve when he made that record, for it to be ignored because you're scrolling on bloody Instagram or TikTok, or you're trying to send texts to your friend and you've got your back turned to the DJ with no desire to understand what the record's all about, that's a really sad day. It's a sad day for music, sad day for people who are there for the wrong reasons. I saw a clip the other day where it was phone crazy in the club. And the record was going along, and the drop happened, and the phones had gone up like this. And there was a guy in the club who actually didn't have a phone, but had his back turned to the DJ. And everyone's kind of going, okay, at least I've got my phone going, but I'm at least dancing. You're going to get the worst video, but it's dancing. And this guy didn't even move, flinch. Didn't even move. He wasn't like, okay, nothing. I'm thinking to myself, why aren't you dancing? What is it that you don't like about the reason why you're there? So there's a confliction here of why people are going out in the first place. If they're going out because they want to capture what they got on the phone, and then afterwards tell their friends, that's where I was. And then for people to go, oh, did the DJ play a certain record? Yes, he did, because that's my favorite record. Oh, okay, well, that's my favorite record. And you get this complete distraction to the reasons why you're on the dance floor. So do I agree with it? No. Is it happening? Yeah. But is it the right thing that's happening on the dance floor in a sense of vibe? Definitely not. So, but who am I to say that you can't film? I mean, because the thing is, if we had a phone back in the day, we would have
100%. Yeah.
We would have got that phone out, and we would have made sure that our mate that fell down the stairs in a nightclub got filmed, and it got put up for the world to see.
Yeah.
Of an idiot of that's happened here to him. And it's really horrible now, because I scroll through and have a look, and he got like these girls and guys having fights, girls falling over, flashing everything, spewing up and all that sort of stuff, and no one's helping. They're just filming.
No. It's crazy, isn't it?
You're just like, oh my God, is it really come to this in our society? It's in our society, and it's affected Clubland in such a way. Do people still enjoy standing there on the dance floor with their phones? Don't ask me, ask them.
Yeah.
Ask them why they got their phone out, and they'll tell you the answer. They'll turn around and say, "Shut up, Granddad. You don't know what it's like to be here. And it's my time. You had your time when you didn't have any phones. Yeah, no, and you just go, whoa, dude. And you shouldn't be here. You're too old. You've like, oh my God,
I'm off.
See
you later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we are. That's where we are. But I'm fortunate enough to be a gatekeeper, and I can go out, and they're going to go, my God, this guy is still doing it. Get a picture of him, boom, and that's the end of it. So it's a difficult thing. It's always going to be now a bone of contention. But most of the people who complain about it are not going to the club. They don't know what the vibe is actually like. They're only basing it on what they see.
Yeah.
And when you see millions now of people who are around the world with their phones up, is the only thing you see. I play minimum between 3-4 hour sets. There's no way that they've got their phones up for 4 hours. The battery will run out for a start. You will get bored anyway, because in the middle of it all, you can't have every single record on a drop. No. It's impossible. Yeah. So they do put the phones away, and they stop scrolling, and they do start to dance, and they get into it. And if I get even a bit of that, and then a bit of that, it's better than none of it. So that's kind of my take on phone culture in Clubland.
The other thing similar to that nowadays, we were saying about everyone's like online and everything, is because you're probably I would say, one of the most recognised DJs in the world. How do you deal with that? And I've seen it at airports, and you are so nice with stuff like that. But how are you like with being approached for photos? Because in the old days, it was autographs, wasn't it? Back then, it was really them. But how are you with that? How do you stay grounded? Because you're always very polite. And I get it, there's times where you don't want to be annoyed. But, I mean, I've walked through festivals with you, Jesus Christ, some of the times I've actually said, we need to get more security, because everyone's been lovely, but they just want that moment with you. How do you deal with that? Because everyone says, everyone sees you as you're a lovely guy, and you're always nice and all that, and that persona always comes across. But it must be hard sometimes when there's 30 people coming to you with phones going, Carl, they're all pissed. And how do you deal with that?
I think more than anything, because my career kind of just went, yeah, like this. It didn't go,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, oh my God, now I don't want to deal with people. It's been like a gradual, well, say gradual. It went to a peak, and now I've been able to maintain that peak and what's around me in that way over the years. And I've always seen myself not as a celebrity superstar DJ. I'm
No.
just a guy. I'll be in a chip shop. You'll be in front of me in a chip. I've been in a chip shop when the guys turn around and went, "Oh my God, it's Carl Cox." It's like, "What are you doing now?" I said, "Well, I've just ordered like 2 cod and chips, a pickle onion, and a couple of eggs. That's it." And then like, "Oh, can I get a picture?" Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But don't take the picture of all the food. If I've got anything on
Yeah.
my tape,
Yeah.
why not? Why shouldn't he take a picture? I mean, the thing is for me is I kind of like respect people who respect the boundaries of who I am. So if they're being really nice, then why not? At the end of the day, I've had people who are not being so nice. Give me a picture,
Yeah.
and
I've
I'm
seen
like,
that. I've seen that.
okay, do you even know who I am? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I just know that you're somebody famous.
I've paid my money. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? I've had that before. I've seen that with DJs. I've paid my money. You give me a picture. Like, what? Like,
and I'm like, no, and they're like,
yeah.
oh, so I
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, yeah, but you've been an idiot because you're not giving me the boundary of space of respect. Because the thing is, I'm one of the most easiest people to get on with. But I know a lot of DJs and a lot of artists are not bothered. They're like, no, don't talk to me. I can't be that person because when I idolized other people, I get really shy. I remember being in a lift with. Well, there's a couple of
Have
stories
you?
actually.
Yeah. Look, just quick. Yeah, because I like this. Because people are
There's a
like,
couple
have you ever felt like, oh my God, this is
there's been a couple of people,
go on
and one of them was Mickey Dolnez from the
from the
Monkees.
monkeys? Oh wow. Yeah.
Mickey Dolnez. I mean, some people remember him, some people won't. But if you could look him up on Google,
Yeah. I
you
used to
know
love the
that
TV
Mickey
show
Dolnez
back as a kid.
is a
Yeah.
legend. So I was in Melbourne, and I was playing in Melbourne, and Mickey Dolnez was in the lift going up to the same floor that I was in the hotel I was staying in. So me and another guy, Eric Powell from
Yeah.
Bushwick,
Eric. Yeah.
me and Eric, we're like thick as thieves. We are. So we're in there with Mickey Dolnez. We're like, all right. He's like, yeah, man. So, oh, you're playing, this weekend? Yeah, man. And then, by the time we had the conversation, normally people come in, got to get a picture, selfie,
Yeah.
people are going to believe them. I didn't know what to say. We went, bye.
Yeah.
What? And I said to Eric, why did you say something? He said, no, why did you say something? I said, because people won't believe that we were picking
It's surreal.
So the second time we see him, we go downstairs and he's having some food at the down at the bar downstairs, and he was just on his own, just minding his own business. And now we've got a second chance at it, get hold of him. And we went, Mickey, how's it going? And he was like, yeah, man, it's all good. And well, Eric, you go and say something. He's like, you go and say something. And I'm like, what's wrong with us? You know what I mean? But I know as an artist, he's not there to be bothered. He's
Yeah.
there just to enjoy his space. And he doesn't want 2 bloody idiots hitting on him trying to get a bloody picture. He might have actually did it and thought it was okay. The second time is where I was in the Mondrian Hotel in Los Angeles, and it's quite a well-to-do hotel. But I like staying there, and it was my go-to hotel at the time. I was going to the lift, and the lift door was just going to close like this, and the button opened up, and in walks Claudia Schiffer.
Wow.
I was like, me and my mate Mark Lewis were like, so she's like, hi. We're like, and she was like quite way up in the thing. So it was like uncomfortable silence going up. And you don't know what to say. It was just, so normally we go, yeah, can I get a picture? No one's going to be,
Yeah.
we didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
So we get to her floor, she gets out before us. We went, bye. She went, bye. She walked out. And the doors closed. I said, what the bloody hell's that?
But do you ever get that, Carl, with people that you didn't think would recognise you? Like, you have someone come up to you and go, oh my God, it's Carl, like someone famous, like another because that's what I was saying.
I do. I've had it with Wesley Snipes.
Oh, wow.
I've had it with Wesley Snipes. I've had it with quite a few people in the industry that's come up, and they just want to shake my hand.
Yeah.
I went to a couple of parts from before. I needed a picture. Elizabeth Shannon was one of them as well. So Elizabeth
Is
Shannon,
that
she
from
was
American Pie?
American Pie.
Yeah, yeah. She's
It
smoking
was
in that.
gorgeous. I met her at the stereo in
Wow.
Montreal, and she turns, "Hi, Carl, how's it going?" I'm like, that girl was,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Elizabeth
Yeah,
Shannon. And I was
yeah.
like,
Oh,
"You a
wow.
fan?" Yeah, I've been following her. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
"What
mad,
the
isn't
hell?"
it, when you don't see
So
it like that?
it's been my life. I mean, it's been incredible. Slash. So also, I remember Dr. Dre coming into space once, and he heard about me, and he was coming in, and Ian Hussey, my tour manager, I'm playing at space, and he was like, "Hey," tapping on the shoulder. I said, "Hey, what's up?" He said, "No, no, no, no." He said, "Somebody wants to come and see you." I said, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "Who's that?" He said, "Dr. Dre."
No way.
Dr. Dre. Good one.
Yeah, yeah.
He went, "No, no, no, he's back here." This was to say, I don't want to say anything. I went, "Dr. Dre?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "What the?" He said, "Want to come down and see you?" I was like, "Oh." I turned around, and there he is, Dr. Dre. I was like, "Oh, we're not
Yeah,
worthy."
yeah,
He
yeah.
kissed the ring. I was like, "Oh my God." He went, "Man," he goes, "music's great. I'm really getting inspired." He goes, "I didn't really want to disturb you, but, enjoy the rest of your evening." I said, "Cool." I was like, "That's Dr. Dre."
Wow.
The whole night I'm like,
Yeah,
"Wow,
yeah.
that's bloody awesome." I remember Tara Reid as well. She came
Oh,
down once,
wow. Yeah, yeah.
and she was there, and she's like, just had a boob job and stuff, and she's like dancing where the dancing podium is. And anyway, so the actual space dancers were going to go up, and she wouldn't come down. She's like, "Yeah, I'm Tara Reid. Woo, they'll check me out." And the security had to go and grab her with her legs kicking and everything. Pull her off. After he laughed away. I was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "What is happening here?" So,
Oh.
I mean, I could go on for days with my stories.
When people look back at Carl Cox in 50 years' time, then let's go back. Let's go to one of the things. What do you hope they would remember you legacy-wise?
I hope that people remember me for the good times that I had by whatever music I played at any time that I played it. I mean, I'm going right back to my weddings that I did. I'm going right back to me playing music at school, me playing music when the college I went to, Carl Shorten College. People remember a lot of the things that I've done over the many, many years I've been doing it at. But for people to feel that my purpose or place in life gave them a memory of a good time had by the music that I love and I shared.
Yeah, yeah, that's lovely. That's really nice. And the other thing as well, because of last year, a couple of years ago, I shot your 60th birthday and things like that. What do you do to look after yourself and everything? Because traveling and touring and things like that. What would you?
I, I mean, so many people thought I was just retired and I'm just
Yeah,
walking away from the scene and all that sort of stuff. Never happened. The only thing that happened was that space finished, and
yeah,
that was it. But the mad thing is, people only think that my career was based on space. In the beat for the even still today, they said, "Oh yeah, I saw your set last year at space." Oh, yeah. Space finished in 2016. I
yeah,
haven't been to the island since 2018. It's like 22. I'm like, it's just hearsay, a lot of it. But for my own self, as someone that is over 60, I have to slow down and also have a balance of my life. It can't just be that I'm playing at every single party and going to all these different after parties, and it's just about just that alone. That's why I'm into my motorsports. That's
and you
why
don't drink anymore either, do you? You very rarely drink. Yeah. I
I
mean, when
mean,
we do shows, you might have the odd bit of champagne or
I've
wine or
just
something.
been there.
Yeah,
I've been through it all.
yeah,
And it gets to a point, if I continue to go through it, I probably wouldn't be here.
yeah,
So, for me to be able to carry on doing what I'm doing at the level that I'm doing it at, I've had to take care of myself from eating a lot more healthier. Um, you know, go to bed
mm,
instead of like, let's go another after party.
yeah,
It really does help for me to continue doing what I'm doing at the level that I'm doing it at, and spend more time with my family and friends because now there's not so many people around anymore, but there used to be.
yeah,
And as we're going on through life, including my parents, so I mean, I'm kind of giving myself a lot of time to be with with my sisters and my niece and with my family and friends around me.
yeah. And I think just closing this bit off before we get to the listeners' questions and things like that. I've worked with you for the last 20 years, and it's been amazing. We've done book covers, press shots, which we've got next month. I think we've got another one coming up. Mad covers. We've done some DJ Mad covers, quite a few, and another one coming soon as well. Live shows. I mean,
hopefully I'll have to go to some farmer's field.
Right, but this is what I was going to talk about. We've done live shows and loads of stuff, but there was one shoot I always remember we did. And we were driving around, it was around Brighton, wasn't it? And then we saw this field, and it was really cool, and it was like a real, like, big sky, you know, like one of those things. And we got in, I said, come on, Carl, quickly. And I had my little flash gun, I was running to it. I goes, right, let's get in the middle. And I want you to cross your arms, quite strong, you know, sort of like thing. But it was all the clouds in the background, and it was like a wheat field, wasn't it? Yeah, it was good. I remember doing it. And then you just went, what's that over there? And you saw the farmer running. It looked like he had a gun, didn't he? He was just like,
take the shot. And let's get out of it.
I was trying to set the camera up. Oh my God, just like that, just like this. Like that.
We were quite far in.
Yeah.
That whole moment of the surroundings. But meanwhile, this farmer was not pleased with us whatsoever.
Was he? And we just we sort of got this. I did about 3 frames, got the shot, and then we got off. But
the shot. Let's get out of here. Oh my God.
It was so good, mate. And
you said, we'll be fine, it'll be okay. We won't be here long.
I was setting up for about 10 minutes trying to do the lighting stuff. But like I say, before we're going to get listeners' questions in a minute, but thank you so much for, let me be a part of your career, bringing me in. I really appreciate it. It's something that I love doing, and, I'd never take it for granted. Working with you and the team, you've got a great team. I love working with like Ian Jumper, who's a massive part of your life, isn't he? Was, your tour manager friend that you've been with a long time, and all your team around you and all that. It's been fantastic. So let's get to the listeners' questions, and we'll whack through these. So Sarah said, favourite place in the world to DJ?
You can imagine there's like a million of them, at the end of the
it's
day.
Not an easy one, that, is it?
I could be anywhere in the world and I'll have a great time. I suppose I do enjoy South America.
Yeah.
Because it's so big for a start, but every different area of South America is different. I get challenged by it quite a lot, and I kind of see the vibe and the feeling of what it's like to be on a Caribbean island doing this. I see them as islanders in some ways, that they have their own kind of way of life, and I really enjoy the passion of it all, because when I play, I really dig deep into my music and to give the audience something very, very special. Not that I don't do that anywhere else, but when it's coming back in such a way like that, you can see some of my events that I've done even over the last couple of months before the new year, after the new year. I've been in South America, and the audiences have just followed my every mix, every track, and I haven't really played there that much. I mean, the last time I played in where did I say Peru? But I played there about 4 or 5 years that I haven't played, and I've gone back and I'll give it to them still after all the DJs that they've had over the years of me not being there, and they just welcome me with open arms. It's like, Carl Cox is back. Oh my God, it's amazing. I don't really get that feeling anywhere else apart from South America, and it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like coming home.
One word to describe your feeling being behind the decks. One word from Alistair, that is.
Honoured.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, that's nice.
Honoured. I think it's an honour to be there.
Yeah. Any preset rituals from Scott?
I would like to say that I do have one. The only thing that I would do is just tell people to give me 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Because I would have gone there, would listen to the DJs, would have drank some drinks. I would have gone to the VIPs. I would have had people backstage and all like jumping into my mini bar or my bar. There was some food in there, and you're okay. And it'd be like, oh, you're going on in 15 minutes. I'd be like, well, bloody head's in bits, but I know what I've got to do when I've got to go on and do it. So my ritual is just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's all I need. Grabbing my thoughts, get my towel. I've got my headphones and all this sort of stuff that I need. And then once I've got the 5 minutes, then I walk up on the stage, and then that's where it all starts for me.
Yeah. One track you wish you'd made, Lisa?
Oh my God, there's just so many. One track that I wish I made. I mean, there's just so many. I like to think Such a Feeling by Bizarre Inc.
Oh, I love that record. Yeah.
What do you feel it? Because
Yeah.
it's got everything in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything you can possibly want from a record in it. And it was done brilliantly well. And it still sounds unbelievable today. So if there was ever one record, it'd be that one.
Unexpected place you've ever DJ'd?
Uh, Unexpected.
Stonehenge would be one. I can imagine.
Yeah.
We did that, didn't we? Yeah.
Well, in saying that, I think that could be. I mean, I haven't put it out of my mind.
Yeah.
But the thing is, to be asked to play at Stonehenge in the way that we had played it,
Yeah. It was
no
amazing,
one
wasn't it?
else had the
Yeah.
opportunity to play so close to the
Mm.
Stones in such a way, and we respected it because it was all silent, no big sound system or anything. It was respected to the ideal of not disturbing the heritage of Stonehenge and the Stones itself. Was again the way how we were asked to respect it was incredible. There was even a point where the little tiny monitors that we had, they said, "It's a little bit like, can you turn those down?"
Yeah, they did. They were really tight on everything, weren't
Really?
they?
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it isn't one of the most unusual places to play. It was kind of like one of the most
Strict.
ridiculous conditions to play. That's why. So I had my headphones on
Mm.
because it was silent. But to cue and to cue up the next record, which you couldn't really hear from the monitor, was to have my headphone on one and the actual live on the other one, and
Yeah.
then go and
Yeah.
then mix it on that. But I'm like, Jesus,
It was an amazing experience. I remember watching the sunset, and it was just
it
beautiful,
was
wasn't it?
incredible. But then it got colder
Yeah.
and colder. So yeah, I would say that Stonehenge was definitely right up there.
Yeah. Oh,
100%.
brilliant. How do you quickly on this? Because it's how do you feel about techno at the moment and the commercialization it's going?
How much time do you
Right.
have?
Let's move on.
Because yeah, we could go on all day
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
what it is, what it means to people. What is techno? I saw a picture of this girl the other day as she dressed up for techno. And
Yeah.
she's got like a Gucci black handbag. She's got like a leather skirt on, leather boob top. Had her hair in ponytails, black necklace. Dressing for techno.
Yeah.
And I'm guaranteed she's not going to see Jeff Mills.
No. No.
It's been taken out of context what that means. I remember back in the day when I was seen as a techno DJ. I'm still seen as a techno DJ today, but not in the sense of where techno or what it's perceived is now. But people are like, "Oh, I don't like Carl Cox. He's too hard. He plays techno music." And I'm just like, well, techno isn't for everybody. The sound of techno music as I knew it then to where it is now. Now, oh, you play techno? Oh my God, genius! That's amazing. That record that goes doof 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 wow is incredible. You're genius. I'm just like, okay, all right. Well, if that's what you think techno is, it's okay. But it's been taken out of context in so far that I cannot be worried about it anymore. Because if you really want to know what real techno is all about, you just have to go back and understand the real ideal of why this has come to this point to where it actually comes from. And the music was so much better then than it possibly can be now because it's techno by numbers. So, techno was just made because no one gave us fuck about it. It's just like sounds, poof, poof, poof. And when we picked it up and just went, oh, that you screwed your face up and just went, what the hell? Now it's like same drop, same kick drum, same, sounds, same thing, in the realm. And it's just now speeded up to such a point where it's got to like 160, 180 BPM, which not techno. That turns into GABA, hardcore GABA, which is another, sound all entirely. But then they lump that as techno. So it's been misused in such a way. But I know what techno is. You know what techno is. And if anyone really wants to understand what techno is, you've got to go back.
That was quite a short answer because that could have been the whole thing. How do you describe your entire musical journey with one track? Oof, that's a hard one. Ollie.
Strings of Life.
Perfect.
Strings of Life.
Yeah, that's easy.
When that record came out, there was nothing that sounded like that, and still nothing that sounds like that today.
Agreed.
Nothing. Yeah, strings of life.
Do you still have your lockdown vegetable patch in Australia?
No, unfortunately, that died.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I did actually make a 2.0 version of it,
yeah.
and I actually went from the patch and I raised it up, put irrigation through
Yeah.
these. I had these wooden boxes made, and
Then you bought a new car. It just moved it. Just knocked it down.
I needed the space.
Garage now.
I needed the space, but
Sorry.
it's true.
The Hummer there, big Hummer or something.
I really enjoyed that that moment, because I mean we were all locked down and we was all dealing with it in our own inevitable way. And I always had that vegetable patch in one day that I would grow some vegetables in it.
Yeah.
Well, I had no choice to grow vegetables in it, and eventually, and I was like growing beetroot and bloody broad beans, and everything was happening. I was like, I had these kifler potatoes that are quite small, and we bought some kifler potatoes, and I love them. You just bung them in the oven, and they go brown, and you just cut them in half and put some butter on them, and salt and pepper. Delicious, right?
Yeah.
And then I had some left over, and I thought I'd just bung them in the soil. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. I haven't gone on YouTube to find out how this works. I know potatoes grow underground and they do their thing. Anyway, so 2 months I bought this kifler of potatoes. Where are they? I thought it was going to come up through the soil and go, now I've arrived. No, they grew underground and they went like that.
No way.
All underground. For 2 months. All you can see is that green leaves coming up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they didn't take. I was like, oh,
Just loads underneath.
You know what? I'm going to dig them up.
Yeah.
And the amount that I put in was like in this one bunch like that, kifler potatoes. Like, is that the same ones I put in? And then I went, brrr.
Wow, wicked, mate.
Loads of potatoes. I'm like, now that's what I'm talking about. I'm a simple man. I don't know how these things work. I'm not a farmer. I don't grow. I go to Tesco's and go and buy them out of a packet, and enjoy them. To grow your own veggies like that was incredible. So
I think people love that though around that, because everyone was in such a weird place. To be so grounded, and like your mixes and your live streams and all that were great, and it just felt quite personal, which I quite like, because everyone was going through it. It was a very odd time, wasn't it?
It was endearing, and I make some music and I put it out on my Facebook or Instagram, and I'll get like maybe
this is social media, mate. This is
2 or 3. I'm like, yeah, okay, you've got a new record out,
Yeah.
And then I got some broad beans. Pow!
Banana bread you made or something.
And banana bread. 4 million people. It was like,
I've
got a new album coming out. I've sweated blood on this. I've got all these people, coming and joining. I've got people on the tambourine, and everyone's like, yeah, okay. And I've got some broad beans. What do I want to do? Post like one of my biggest posts was the banana bread. I've done some banana bread, and I put it in. Everyone's like, I've done banana bread. Thousands. I'm like, oh my God. So what I've got to do, I've got to put out
a cookery
and hang on, my broad beans.
Mate, what was like playing Pablo Hussein in Human Traffic? And is there anything else? Rich, this is my brother-in-law actually asked that because he loves this film. Any other things coming up with that or not? Because they were talking about number 2 quickly.
They've been talking about Human Traffic 2 for quite a while. I think Danny Dwyer went online and he was talking about that he was asked to come back and play his role again. When I was asked to come back, I felt that a sequel is always difficult to follow, especially with the timeline of when it came out in 1998, and then they want to kind of revamp it in 2022. We've all got older and wiser and a little bit more sensible. And we're not out trying to blag away in clubs and fumble around having sex and that sort of stuff. We've been through and done all of that sort of thing. And I think that Human Traffic was definitely of the time, and it connected with a lot of people that were going out also at that time, and the music was fantastic. And Danny Dwyer was a star, and John Sims was amazing, and Lorraine was awesome. It was a great cast, and my role, not playing a DJ and playing a nightclub owner, was awesome. I absolutely Danny who I really enjoyed playing that role, and people still see me as that person, and it's amazing. So when we were locked down, I remember doing a set as Pablo
Yeah, Pablo San.
had that character, Pablo
Mm.
Hassan, and it was funny. It was kind of what music would Pablo Hassan play? So I had a bowler hat and a tracky bottom, a tracky top on it, and I did this set. It's online, you can see it. It's hilarious. But it was then I was playing some human traffic music as well while I was doing that, and I loved it. I mean, I've been asked to do more roles as well, but the thing is, when you're doing a movie, you need between 3 to 6 months
Mm.
to be away to do the move, to do these things. I needed acting lessons, of course. Reading scripts, I think, is very difficult unless you really have a good memory to be able to go through reading scripts. I was asked to do a movie with Johnny Depp in Canada,
Oh, wow.
doing this music about My Name Was Max, and it was all about club culture and me being a DJ and how people move through the movement of society and all that sort of stuff. And it never came about, it. But to be asked was incredible, but I've just turned it down because I didn't see myself, as my career, and then going from DJ celebrity into being a Hollywood movie star. I'll leave that to Idris Elba.
Yeah. This is from my dad, whose birthday it is today. So hello, happy birthday, Dad. If given a choice, you've met my dad, and he's a big racing guy. So if given a choice, would you rather be a motorcycle racer or into that, or a top DJ?
Let me
You can only
spin.
choose one. You can only choose.
Let me go. Well,
Okay, all right. You can.
why
You can do what you want.
What about motor cars? What about motor cars?
That's it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Motor in any that.
Just say motor cars because
Yeah,
I love riding motorbikes, but I
yeah.
wouldn't race them
No,
because I don't have the eye for it.
no.
But I do like doing track days and that
Yeah,
sort of stuff. So that's that.
yeah.
But DJing, I really enjoy because, as we spoke before, the culture of me coming and being this person, uh, that's been my path and my vocation. But I have always enjoyed cars and racing cars, as you can clearly see in my efforts of drag racing. And people have always asked me, do you like the idea of that? A lot of people are following your every move as a DJ, hand gesture, on the mic or a record that I've mixed, what that gives me, the pleasure of that, what it gives me. Or in a racing car, and I put it on boost, and I go, pow, and I get myself, as fast as I humanly possibly can in a cut. And I have to say, I cannot choose between the two.
Okay.
I can't choose
No.
between the two. I love them equally, both. I can't say one is better than the other. I enjoy them both equally.
Okay. This is a quick one. What's your favourite cheese? From Nick.
Favorite cheese?
Yeah.
I do like a good camembert.
Very nice.
I do like, if you bake it as well, it's even better. But as you know, it's full of calories, dairy.
Yeah.
It's no good for you, really, but it's delicious.
You first came to Kelly's in Portrush in 1994, Battle of the Giants. It was sweaty and raw. You must have enjoyed it because you've been back several times. What was your feeling coming to Northern Ireland at the time, and what kept you bringing back? And this is Shane from Derry, because he was saying back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of DJs didn't like to go to the north.
No, I just see people as people. I know things were happening and going on with the Catholics and Protestants. All I saw was the younger generation coming together. It's going to get sorted out. Peace eventually will get sorted out eventually at the end of the day. My vocation was all about people who wanted to see it happen from a black person's point of view as well. It wasn't white or black, you know what I mean? I was like a minority race coming in and having these people coming together. Very strange thing to be involved in some ways, but I didn't segregate anybody, and his music was bringing people together. And I remember it, the Garda being there, pulling us over. What you doing? Where you going? All right, I heard about you coming across. All right, you can go across there. Blah, blah, blah. It was tough to see things happening in such a way, because that generation was like, they understood it, the idea of it, but you can't say that you can't talk to that person because they're a Catholic or Protestant or vice versa. Because if you like that person, you like that person. And his music was actually helping to ease tensions between themselves in such a way. It took a while for that to actually happen, and I could see it. I go there in a certain hotel that I stayed in the last time I was there, and when I went back, that hotel had been bombed to the ground. It was like that. It was that close, of what was happening and what was going on at that time. But the atmosphere and the people and the way how they really, got me in their hearts all of the time, kept me going back all of the time. And I was at one venue in Belfast where got a bomb scare. It's like, right, I got a bomb scare. Everyone out. I'm like, me and Majika were like, oh, he's on the mic. Right, we got to go. So we're outside, and someone had a car and about 2,500 people outside, and bomb squad go in with the machines that went all over. It was obviously a hoax, but you don't know, right? You don't know. So anyway, all right, no worries, I'll go back in. What? Go back in? There's been a bomb squad. I don't know. We went straight back in, and then went back in, and everyone had it's called Hellraiser. The atmosphere went from here to here. It was, I had another hour, and that last hour was the most incredible hour I've ever had in a club. So I remember it very, very well, being back in Ireland.
Sure. Okay, we'll do two more questions, and then we'll call it, because you've been so good for it. Right, so the other one I was going to say is, any signs of retirement? What does retirement look like for one of the biggest DJs in the world? Michelle.
I was supposed to retire myself. This is me saying, I'm going to stop. I think I've pushed the envelope. I think I've done as much as any other human being can do. I think more than anything else, I can turn a corner here, knowing after the rave scene and everything that's happened, I can kind of, follow my own path of where I end up. And that was me saying that when I was 45. I actually said it in print. It was like a Pete Tong kind of interview that I had in print. So by the time I'm 45, done. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 51, 52, 53. I'm thinking, bloody hell. I get to 60, all right. 61, 62. Just taking on a residency, doing all my live shows. I'm slowing down, but I think I can't envision that I would stop at any point. I can't see it. I'm being involved in the music in one way or another, whether I'm curating a festival or signing new music to my label or making music still in the studio. I think I'll always be doing what I'm doing.
That's a good one. Right, the last question is, and it's from me actually, you've got a time machine and you could go back to see little Carl on that doorstep with listening to your dad, like asking him to play music. What advice would you give to little Carl if you went back now?
Advice, if I was there, but right back there, it's difficult because in life you make decisions, and some really good ones, and some really bad ones. But I always had help from my friends, and I've always love and respect them. Even still today, the ones that were there even back then, there's still not all of them, but majority of them are still around at the moment, and they are very proud of my efforts of where I've ended up, because it's never been an easy road. Nothing was gifted. But I have to say, I probably wouldn't change a thing. My mentality of understanding the music, the industry, the people, the timeline, of what I've been through was all an experience for me. And that experience has given me the platform of who I am and what's made me of who I am today. And if I had another shot at it, I wouldn't change a thing. I would do the whole thing again. I can't see one thing that would make it any better for me or any worse.
Oh, that's a good one to finish on. Carl, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You've got a summer coming up. Look on Carl's socials about how crazy it's going to be. Some of mine, because obviously I'll be documenting a lot of it. So we've got loads of things coming up. But thank you for coming on. And anything you want to push before that? Is there anything just...
No, not really. I mean, I've got nine live shows around the world that I will be doing, and looking like we're trying to do something in Melbourne when I get back as show number 10. So we're just working on that at the moment. I've got some new music coming out, of course, on ASW as well, and supporting those artists with the new music coming out on that. Of course, Intech is back, yay!
Yeah.
And John Rundell is back running a label for me. So we've got some really awesome music coming out on Intech. I love Intech music, and a lot of people miss the sounds of that coming together. And I'm playing golf
Oh my
again.
God!
So you
Wow.
might see me at a golf course somewhere with Nick playing Julie because he
Oh,
loves playing
wicked.
golf and sort of
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
I'm still riding my bike, still
Yeah.
drag racing. I'm going to be back at Centre Pod, obviously racing my cars and that
When's
sort of
that?
stuff. I'm actually going to Centre Pod in about a
Okay.
week's time.
Yeah.
So I'm not racing actually because
Yeah.
my car is not ready, but I will be there on
Yeah.
the weekend. So I'll see a lot of people there. So I'm still around, moving around. People can see what I'm doing and still supporting the Isle of Man TT races, which is also coming up in 2 weeks with me supporting Michael Dunlop and Davey Todd and yeah, it's it's nuts by what I'm doing on that island, but I really enjoy the Isle of Man TT. So yeah, music, cars, bikes,
It sounds like
supporting the next
mental
generation.
summer.
Yeah, it's mental, and then of course Universe
Yeah.
starts. So I'm really looking forward to that, and of course Brighton doing the vinyl set.
Oh, wicked. Well, thanks for coming on, Carl, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks,
Mate.
Dan. All the
Cheers,
best,
mate.
mate.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.